Today, we're going to make some paper doll style puppets of wild animals. First, as usual, we'll take a look at some images for inspiration. But unlike many times, I'm just going to show them silently so that you can have your own ideas about them. If you want to know what the artwork is titled or the artist's name, ask a grown-up or someone else who has learned to read letters and words. The first thing you'll need are a couple pieces of paper and something to draw with. We're going to be using paint later on, so if you have a permanent marker, that would be a good choice. But if you don't worry and just use whatever you have. I'm going to start by drawing the animals Zooey meets in episode 4. I'll start with a snake because that feels like a pretty simple shape to get warmed up on. A lot of snakes are known for having intricate patterns on their bodies, so I'm going to make one of my own up using stripes and dots. If you have other ideas for a pattern, try them. All you need to know is that a pattern is made by repeating a few basic elements. My pattern uses 2 elements, but yours might use 3 or 4 or 5 or more. The next animal I'm going to draw is a grasshopper, but I don't really have a solid idea in my mind as to what a grasshopper looks like. So, I've pulled up a photo. You'll notice that my grasshopper doesn't look exactly like the one in the photo, and this is okay. Rather than trying to mimic every tiny detail, I got a sense of generally how grasshoppers look and used those ideas in my drawing. For instance, you can see that a grasshopper's face has a lot of squarish parts, so I drew lines on the face to represent those. Next, I'm drawing a butterfly. Again, this is not a scientific drawing of a butterfly, so I'm free to design whatever patterns I want. Finally, I'm drawing an elephant. To be honest, I wasn't quite sure where to begin with this one, so I thought about the most memorable features of an elephant: the trunk, the tusks, the ears, and started with those. Now that we've drawn our wild animals, it's time to cut them out. When cutting things out of a big piece of paper, I like to cut sloppily around the drawings at first, and then cut them out more finely. Also, because these animals have so many parts to them, I'm not going to cut them out exactly along the lines. You can see that I'm leaving a bit of blank paper around each animal. Not only does this avoid needless frustration, but it will make playing with the creatures much more rewarding, because we'll be able to see more of the creature while we play. Now that our animals are cut out, it's time to give them some color. I'm using watercolor paints, but you can use whatever colorful materials you have. Crayons, markers, pastels, colored pencils, anything. You might notice that I've put down a piece of paper on my table. This is an important step, regardless of what kind of coloring implement you're using, because it protects the surface you are working on. Once all of your animals are painted, lay them out to dry. Once they've dried, you can play with them. Thanks for working with me today.